Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Becca and this is my plant channel where I talk about all the houseplant things. And today we're doing some repotting of my cacti. And yeah, I'm a little nervous. I have to admit, I'm always nervous when it comes to repotting my cactus just because, yikes, it's definitely going to leave me with some spines in the fingers. Like no matter what I do, that is inevitable. Oh, here's my pillow. Looking for something to sit on. Every time I do a repotting video, I sit on my feet because I need to be like up a little higher and then my legs go numb and that's not fun for me. And my dogs try to sit in my lap because they're very needy. Also, this video is sponsored by Green Chef, so big thank you to them for that. I just really need to get these all situated for when they make the big move out to the greenhouse because I am gonna have a whole cactus section. So my original plan was to make a built-in cactus bed so that the cactus could be sort of like planted in ground in a raised bed that I build in the greenhouse. And I've decided against doing that at this point because I just don't think that I'm gonna be living here long enough to really see the effects of doing that. So I am just going to put them in individual pots and then it'll be a lot easier to move if and when that happens. And I don't know, I just think that it'll be fine to have like a bunch of cute potted plants. I really like the way that cacti look all clustered together in their different pots. I also really like the way they look when they're put in one long pot like this. But with all of my cactus being so large, like I did get quite a few when I was in Arizona, and all of those are pretty big, and so I think that it would just be best if I potted them all separately so that they had plenty of room to grow. So with that being said, I have the cactus mix from Tank's Green Stuff, which I always use for my cactus, and I have a variety of pots, just all different sizes. It'll just depend on the root system of that individual cacti. I'm trying to save the larger pots that I have for the larger cacti, obviously. And I am gonna have to go shopping to get bigger pots because I don't have big enough ones for like my saguaro or my barrel cactus. So those ones will be a little bit more of a chore to repot, and I might actually just wait to do those ones until we're out in the greenhouse. We will just have to see. I guess first, I'm just gonna go for the ones in here because they're right here. Let's go easy first. I got this tiger aloe from my parents. This is a baby off of one of their like big plants, and it looks like it's doing okay. Some of the leaves are definitely, like this one's definitely ready to go. It feels kind of soft. Everything else feels pretty good though. It looks pretty healthy and it is putting out new growth, which is great. So I'm excited to see how this one does in like optimal conditions. I think this one would be best suited for this little shallow pot. I think that would be good. Maybe something even a little taller would be better. I think if I went any bigger than this, I would add height, which I don't want to do. Usually with cacti, you want to keep the pots like pretty shallow because with that, the root systems are often pretty small. Like that's a very small root system for a plant like this, but the roots are pretty chunky, so they do like hold a lot of water, and also the leaves obviously are holding a lot of water too. This is a soil scoop that I got from RT1 Home so many years ago, and I still have it, and it's an incredible item to have. I definitely don't like when my hands get dirty when I'm repotting or working with plants, and like working outside, it's pretty much inevitable that your hands are gonna get like absolutely demolished. But working with indoor plants, you can kind of control it a little bit more. Like I definitely stay cleaner working inside, and I like that. I'm kind of excited to hang up the garden gloves and be done with that phase for the season because I hate being dirty. And early on in my plant journey when I would say that, or let's say early on in my YouTube journey when I would say that, some people would be kind of outraged. People are always gonna try to find something to be outraged about, but people would be like really confused by me saying that I didn't want my hands to get dirty. And they'd be like, you shouldn't work in plants then. And I'm like, okay, sure. That pot is not gonna work. Let's do this one instead. This one's just a bit too shallow. I wanna bury some of this like lighter green part, and this one is just a little bit too short. Now with this soil, since it is so chunky, I definitely suggest with any repotting, obviously you're gonna wanna do this, but especially with this cactus soil, pinch it down quite a bit because there is so much air, and the cocoa chips like are just by nature a little bit squishy when they're wet. They kind of tend to have more pliancy to them, so you can sort of push this down and then add a little bit more on top. This just helps it to not flop over. As you can see, like it's pretty secure in there. But with this cactus soil being so chunky, the likelihood of the plant like falling out of it if you don't compact it down correctly is a lot higher. So just make sure that when you use it, you're pushing the soil down as you're repotting. If you don't, it is going to just like flop out because it's not heavy enough to hold the cactus down, because typically cactus are very top heavy more than bottom heavy. Okay, so I've got this aloe that I got from my mom last time I visited, and this aloe over here is also from them. So I kind of want to put them all together, and I think I can put them in this pot. Actually, any plant that I repot, I put a little layer at the bottom of the pot just to get things started so that the roots aren't like at the very bottom already. You know what? I don't think I'm gonna be able to fit those little guys in here unless I got a bigger pot. This pot wants to be used so bad, but it's just not happening for it. So I think today I'm definitely gonna run out of pots. Okay, I think this will be a little bit more suitable. So I'm just gonna go until I run out, and then once that happens, maybe we'll have a part 2, because I imagine that this video is going to be kind of long, which you guys love, right? Long repotting videos versus short videos. A lot of my videos lately have been so short because I was talking to someone in my DMs about this. They like checked on me to see if I was okay, which is really sweet. But I've had short videos lately because I just don't feel like I have too much to say, like plant-wise. Like, you know, I love plants. They're great, but I am kind of in a phase right now where I'm like, I mean, yeah, again, I like plants, they're great, but I'm just really not super excited about them currently. I'm like much more into my other hobbies right now. Like I'm doing like sewing, I'm like planning all of the Christmas DIYs I'm gonna do, and doing like refreshes on my home. We're actually getting new flooring upstairs, and I am so excited. Our house is relatively old. It was built a while ago, so, and like we don't know if that flooring up there is original. Like honestly, with the way that it smells, could be. I don't think it is. I think that the flooring was redone at some point like in the early 2000s in this house. But regardless, up there the flooring is really old and it kind of has like a scent, and like we're to the point where we're just over it. So we finally talked with a local company about getting our flooring redone, and they're coming on Wednesday, which is in 2 days from now, to do it. And we're getting luxury vinyl planking up there. So I'm really excited. And by the time that you see this, it's probably already been done. So if you have comments about what we chose, it'll be too late. But I'm really excited about it, and I think that it'll motivate me to like finish decorating the upstairs of our house. Look at that, a cute pot of little aloe. I have to say, if you are gonna have any like cactus or succulent around, aloe is probably the best one, because it's actually like, it can be used for things like, you know, on your body if you have a burn. It can be used like to moisturize your skin and stuff like that. Like I can't tell you how many times, like in the moments where I did not have an aloe, where I was like, dang it, I need an aloe plant. And they're so cheap and they're very easy to care for, especially if you have a grow light. Like they'll be fine. Even if you don't have a grow light, I think it'll still be fine. It's definitely one of the more forgiving of the succulent plants. As I said before, this video is kindly sponsored by Green Chef. So anytime I get a Green Chef box, I know it's going to be a stress-free week, because it means I don't have to scramble every evening trying to figure out what the heck I'm doing for dinner. Personally, I really don't like meal planning and grocery shopping and all of that, and having meals delivered like this saves me so much time in the grocery store, and I'm especially excited about it because the meals are actually really good and usually include amazing spice blends and sauces. Those two are probably my favorite parts of these meals. Also, especially with this meal I'm making right now, all of the spices and the flavors are all coming together in a way that I would never put together myself. So I love getting introduced to new ingredients and flavors. And especially because Green Chef is a CCOF certified organic company, I can feel really good about what I'm putting in my body. They have options for every lifestyle, including keto and paleo, vegan, vegetarian, fast and fit, Mediterranean, and gluten-free. There's also a lot of flexibility where you can add in extra meals to your box or mix and match within your box different meal styles. So in our house, I prefer to eat more plant-based and Daniel just does not. So it's nice to be able to cater to both of our preferences in one order so we could have some meals with meat and some without. So if you're wanting to lighten the load of the cooking, especially around the holiday season, I know that I love having Green Chef, especially right now. You can use my code DelaPlants599 to get $5.99 per meal on your first box, plus free shipping on your first box as well. Go to greenchef.com for more details. I would like to plant this guy and the other one in the same pot just because, I don't know, they're kind of, I mean, it's the same plant. Like, especially with cacti, I like planting like plants together because even with my houseplants, I don't like having duplicates around the house. I like having like a bigger plant all together, which reminds me, speaking of bigger plants, I really need to water my plant up that's hanging in the balcony. Don't forget to do that, Becca, when you're editing this back and you hear me say that. Go do it. But anyway, so whenever I have a duplicate of a cactus, I like to pot them together, and usually they do end up, like, usually the situation of how I got it is I bought them together in the same pot because a lot of cacti are sold with multiple pieces in one pot, like this. So, you know, I just like to keep them together. I don't really see the point in separating them because this is a much more striking plant than if I just had one. But I'm pretty sure I ended up separating this one because I was doing this cactus box and I didn't have room for it. Something like that. So yeah, I am using tongs today. I don't even know what I normally use, but I used tongs for the first time in my last plant chores video. And I was like, this is really smart. Why have I never done this before? If you don't, ouch! Things can still go wrong even if you have tongs. But if you don't have tongs and you're repotting cacti, what I used to do is I would just mainly hold the bottom of the plant, like the root system, like as far down as I could. And I pretty rarely ran into the spines. And especially if I was wearing gloves, like I didn't really feel it too bad if I got stuck. It wouldn't be as bad as if I wasn't wearing gloves, you know? So if anything, just touch the bottom and not the top. But you can also wrap it in like a towel or newspaper, something like that. But I tend to not do that because I don't want the fibers to get stuck through the towel and then like somebody washes themselves with it and then they get a cactus spine in their arm. I don't know, I'm just paranoid. I'd prefer to use something like tongs moving forward. I feel like this pot is gonna be the winner again, although I might need something taller just because I'm trying to counteract the top heaviness of this plant. So I think I'm gonna go with this one. I just took my Anthurium Balawenum out of this pot, and while it is a little bit taller than I would normally do for cacti, I think that I do need it. Yeah, it does need this because this pot is gonna be heavier than the cacti. So anyway, I will update you guys on the flooring situation when that happens because I am just truly so excited. I'm gonna just like lay this because it's kind of curving. I don't really know why, it's just kind of doing that. So I'm just gonna like lay it right here so that this part can be straight up rather than making the bottom straight, because then it looks like that. And I don't like the way that looks. This one is more straight up. It's also smaller. And I think that this one is smaller because last winter, these two, well, all of my cacti I left outside for too long and they all experienced some sort of, oh, my finger hurts where that fell on my hand. They all experienced some sort of frost damage, which is definitely unfortunate, and it does take them a while to recover just because cacti do tend to be slower growers than like an aroid. Not that much slower if they're getting like the proper things that they need, but definitely slower. You're gonna have to live with the effects of the damage for a lot longer than you would with like an aroid. So We do have a new piece growing off of this one and this one. I don't know if you can see, there's like a little ball at the tip of this one. And that is new growth coming in, which is really exciting. It's putting off a branch, kind of. Since I technically like deadheaded it, it's just branching. So I'm just gonna hold this while I pack the soil in around it, and that'll help it stay standing up. But other than the new flooring upstairs, I don't really have a ton going on, which I'm happy about because we are moving into the holidays, and the holidays are always kind of crazy because we travel to see our family. We don't have family in Colombia, so we like, no matter who we're seeing, Daniel's family or my family, we have to travel. So it is sort of a wild time. So I'm excited to have like a couple of quiet weeks before all of that madness starts happening. And then YouTube speeds up because of Vlogmas, which I'm not participating in Vlogmas, but I do like to put out more vlogs more often. I always say I'm gonna do more than like the previous year, and then I get there and I'm like, I can't. I honestly don't know how people have the motivation or the time to do Vlogmas. It has always freaked me out because like when I'm in it, I'm like, no, I cannot do this. Even though this is my full-time job, this feels like too much. But there's a few people for Vlogmas that I watch every year. So if you're looking for someone to watch, you can check them out. But first of all, EXO McKenna is doing Vlogmas again this year. She did it last year and it was so fun because it wasn't all holiday related. She did like basically 25 days of house renovations on her vlog channel. So, you know, every day she just took us through whatever she was doing that day for the house. And it was really cool. And sometimes there was like, you know, holiday Christmas activities, but a lot of the time it was just doing stuff for her house, which I really enjoyed. I found that pretty entertaining. Okay, this one's done. Okay, this might be the one where I get to use this pot, although I wouldn't bet on it because it's about the same size as this old pot. So we'll see what the roots look like on these four and then go from there. We'll be optimistic. We'll fill up this pot and be optimistic and see. Okay, another person that I always follow for Vlogmas is Megan Grubb. She is like a fitness and lifestyle influencer from the UK, and her content is always so cute, but I really like her content in the holiday season like the most because she's just very festive, and she is also like super open about how sometimes the holidays are hard, and like, you know, she lives in the UK, so it is very gloomy there, similar to here. So, ooh. That is just a solid block, and that is not gonna work for this pot. This pot is like, come on, stop doing this to me. I'm teasing this pot. But turns out this one's gonna be the best option. This pot right here is one that I get like every single time I go out, like if I'm out of them. But basically it's a 5-inch pot that is, I don't know, 4 inches long or tall. It's like a more shallow version of the Belle terracotta pot, and it's great for houseplants. Like a lot of houseplants that I buy come in like a 6-inch pot, and this is perfect because usually houseplants that are potted in a 6-inch pot are not filled out enough to be in that 6-inch pot. So going down 1 inch is like never really an issue for them. There are cases where it is actually too small, and then I'll go up to like an 8-inch pot. But typically when you are repotting, you want to go up 2 inches. So if it wasn't a 4-inch and it needs to be repotted, or it needs a bigger pot, then you're going to go up to a 6-inch pot. But a lot of the time when I first started out, I would think to myself, okay, I'm buying this plant and it's currently in a 6-inch pot, so I know that I have to go up 2 inches. So then I'd buy an 8-inch pot, and then I'd get home and be like, ooh, this root system is not very developed even for a 6-inch pot. So I always see if I can like kind of pull the plant up a little bit to see how developed that root system is. And based on that, I'll kind of make a decision about what I need to buy for the pot, or if I have something at home that'll be suitable. But definitely when you are repotting, make sure that you're repotting for, oh gosh, this pot might even be a little bit too small. But make sure that you're repotting for the size of the root system and not necessarily the plant. You could end up having a plant just kind of swimming in soil, which you don't want. So, all right, I still have a little layer of soil at the bottom here, and I want to, oh gosh, I want to be able to put more soil on top because, you know, I want to be infusing nutrients from the top down when I'm repotting or when I'm watering it. And this soil block is so tight that I'm not even gonna try to break it up. I'm just going to add around it, and it's been perfectly happy in that soil, so I'm just not even gonna mess with it. It's so root bound anyway that any new roots are going to grow into the new soil, so I'm not all that concerned. And this would be a moment where the like smaller size of soil scoop would be nice, because if I'm keeping all of this together, like it's kind of hard to put soil down in the middle. And the cacti just loves to stick to the cocoa. It's like Velcro, it loves it. There we go. Beautiful. We're going for this pot because I would like to pot this in it, and this needs a heavy pot because this is very heavy. So I actually thought I was gonna lose this 2 years ago because it had a little rot spot right here, but it calloused over and it's been fine. And then I think like a squirrel or something tried to eat it and it survived that too. So I'm really happy about that. But I wanted to say the last creator that I usually follow Vlogmas, and maybe not every video because at this point I'm a little overwhelmed, is Megan Hughes. And Megan just moved to Virginia with her husband, 2 dogs and 2 pigs. And they're just a delight to watch. She is so fun. She's been doing YouTube for such a long time, so she's just like really good at it. And she's, I don't know, I don't know what exactly I'm like drawn to about her, but she's just really fun. And she also streams like on Twitch and stuff, but I don't watch her Twitch. I just find her relatable, and I feel like I would be friends with her in real life. So I tend to gravitate towards her content like year round, so her Vlogmas is just like a fun treat to get extra. I don't know if there are any plant creators who participate in Vlogmas. If you are a plant YouTuber and you are gonna do Vlogmas, you should comment down below so that people can like check it out. But honestly, I don't think that I would ever have enough content to post every day about plants. It can be hard to post even twice a week about plants because it is so niche. And again, back to somebody asking if I was okay because I wasn't posting very much. When your channel is so specific, it can be very difficult to put out consistent content because you're like, what do I talk about now? I mean, there's so many things to talk about, but it's like, what do I say this time? Like, how can I say what I've already said in a new way that will engage new people? It's just like, oh my gosh, sometimes I get burnt out on it. And usually when I'm feeling burnt out, like plant-wise, I end up feeling burnt out work-wise too. I guess I shouldn't say, I don't know when my camera cut me off, but it's probably a good thing. All this to say, this is done. And I'm about to run out of soil. So I'm gonna have to run out to my garage and get another bag of soil in a second, but I've got this. And I feel like this is really screaming the Santa Rita prickly pear, which is like such an iconic prickly pear that I saw around Tucson growing up there. It's one of those that just by looking at it, you're gonna get prickles in your fingers. So I've been procrastinating doing that one a bit. I understand. So I've been procrastinating going and grabbing it, but it needs to be done. And I think that it would do really well in this super shallow terracotta pot. So let's do that real quick before I have to go grab another bag of soil. My feet are tingling. My feet are tingling. Tingling my feet. I'm trying to get the circulation back to my feet as quickly as possible. I hate the way that feels, especially when your feet are cold too. When they're cold and they're tingling. Yikes. I really need to prepare myself for this one. These spines are the worst because you don't even know that they're in you until later. You like brush up against something and you're like, oh my gosh, like why did that hurt so bad? And then you look closely and you see the tiny little hairs and they even like fly off into the air. So we're gonna try to disturb this as little as possible. And I've got my tongs here, but I don't know if that's really gonna help. Oh dear, okay. I'm gonna break up the bottom here quite a bit because this is taller than the pot, but I know that it can be flexible. So we're just gonna break this up and remove the block of soil from the bottom. I probably could have done this with like all of the cacti that I've repotted out of a pot so far to like put it in an even more shallow pot, but I just, I don't wanna deal with it toppling over. And this one is not gonna topple over. I am pretty certain. Note to self, get the fresh bag of soil before you do all of this. Be right back. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's actually kind of funny how huge this bag of soil is compared to the other one I was using. But I did a bulk order and I got a lot of soil, so. Oh, it's beautiful. I love seeing a fresh bag of soil. Look at my tongs. They are covered. And I think I might have avoided getting any of them in my hands, which could be a record for me. I don't think I've ever repotted or come anywhere near one of these without getting it in my hands somehow. And it looks really cute. That's like kind of perfect. Now, I feel like I only have things that need big pots left, and I don't have any more big pots. I've got the pot I never used. I've got this really adorable saguaro pot, which I don't know what I'm gonna fit in this, but I do have, you know, I have to drill a drainage hole in this one, so I don't think I'm gonna have anything for it. You know what, I think I do have one thing that could go in it, but it's a euphorbia. It's not a cactus, so is that a little like sacrilegious to put like a euphorbia in a saguaro pot? I don't really know. I think it might be okay, but in my mind, I'm always gonna think like, that's not right. Something's not right there. So I think maybe am just gonna be done for now. Consider this part 1 of repotting my cactus collection. I repotted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plants. That's quite a few. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 left. So that's a good halfway mark, right? Actually, I think there might be even, no. Yeah, I got 7 left. I just did 6, I got 7 left. I need to go pot shopping. And for these, I'm just gonna get basic terracotta pots, like nothing too special. Stuff like this, because I find that cacti look the best in terracotta just on a personal basis. I don't feel like I need to get them like super nice pots that are fancy or whatever else, because they're cacti and they need to dry out. And especially with the soil, that will happen. Terracotta plus tank screen stuff cactus mix is just a beautiful combination for these. So I'm really excited to see how they do in the greenhouse, especially because it's gonna be warm in there and sunny year round. I just think they're gonna love it, and I'm really excited to show you the process. We will be moving in there so soon. I cannot wait. So if you aren't already, make sure that you are subscribed to my channel so you get updates. That greenhouse video, the final video, will hopefully be out very soon. At this point, we only have a few things left to do before that video can come out. So fingers crossed that happens. Keep your fingers crossed for me, your fingers, toes, arms, whatever can be crossed. Please be thinking about me in the next couple of weeks as we finish out this huge project. I'm so excited. And if you would like to see my cactus collection, I did a huge cactus haul when I first got a lot of these things. I'm from Arizona, so I love cacti. They remind me of home, and they're just a lot more expensive to buy here in the Midwest where I currently live. So when I went out and visited last time, I just bought a bunch of cacti and I brought them back home because I drove. So I had like 2 huge boxes of cacti and cacti memorabilia, like little things that I can, I don't know, like Arizona things that I can put around my garden and in my greenhouse to remind me of home. And it's gonna be really sweet to use all those things to decorate. I can't wait. So thank you guys so much for following along on this journey. It means so much to me that you are here supporting me through all of the ups and downs of loving and being bored of plants and everything else. And I just wanna normalize, as always, you're not always going to be like super into your houseplants, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with you. You can still collect houseplants. It's just you're not always gonna be like 100% all in on your houseplants all the time. And to be honest, I think that's a good thing. We need breaks. And then when you come back to it, you feel so much more excited and like invigorated to repot your plants and spend time with them. And yeah, I just think it's the best to take some time to focus on your other hobbies while maintaining this one. Don't let all your plants die, which can be a hard one for me to keep up with watering and stuff. As you can probably see behind me, there's some thirsty plants. I need to do some watering. But anyway, I'm gonna get off my soapbox. Thank you to Green Chef for sponsoring this video. You can check the information in the description box below to see what they're all about. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. Oh my gosh, I kid you not. I was just feeling so great about how I didn't get any cactus in my hand. Check it out. Can you see those little hairs? It got me. They're not in super far, so I'm fine. But they're just so annoying. Anything else? I don't think I have it anywhere else. Did not break a record.